You know that feeling when you're scrolling through social media and you see all these videos of dads hugging their kids, saying, I love you before they leave for school, being emotionally open and vulnerable? And then you look at your own dad and he's different. He doesn't say those words. Maybe he's never said them. And somewhere deep inside, you start to wonder if something's wrong, if maybe he doesn't feel that way about you. If maybe you're just not the kind of kid who deserves to hear it. But here's what most people don't understand about fathers, especially the ones who grew up in a different time, in a different world. The silence isn't what you think it is. And what they do instead, that's where the real love lives. You've just been looking in the wrong place. Let me explain something that might change the way you see your dad forever. Most of us grow up with this idea that love has to be spoken, that if someone really cares about you, they'll tell you. They'll say the words. They'll be emotionally available and open and ready to talk about feelings whenever you need them to. And when our dads don't do that, when they stay quiet, when they seem emotionally distant, we assume it means they don't care. We assume the love isn't there. But that assumption is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how a lot of men, especially fathers from certain generations, were taught to express love. Think about your dad's childhood for a second. Really think about it. He probably grew up in a home where his own father never said, I love you either, where showing emotion was seen as weakness, where men were supposed to be strong, silent providers, where vulnerability was dangerous, where the measure of a good father wasn't how many times he said he loved you, but whether he kept the roof over your head and food on the table. Your dad learned from a very young age that love isn't something you say, it's something you do. And he's been doing it your entire life. You just haven't noticed because you've been listening for words that were never going to come. So what does he do instead? Let's talk about that. Have you ever noticed how your dad always checks your car before you go on a long trip? How he'll walk outside, sometimes in the cold, sometimes when he's tired from work, and he'll check your tire pressure, look under the hood, make sure everything's okay. You probably think it's just him being practical, maybe even annoying, but that's not what's happening. What's actually happening is this. Your dad is terrified. He's terrified of something happening to you on the road. He's terrified of getting a phone call that changes everything. And because he can't control the world, because he can't protect you from every danger out there, he does the one thing he can do. He makes sure your car is safe. He checks the tires. He checks the oil. He makes sure that at least in this one small way, he's kept you a little bit safer. That's love. That's him saying, I love you, in the only language he knows how to speak fluently. Or think about this. Have you ever told your dad about something you're struggling with? Maybe school, maybe a friendship, maybe something at work. And instead of giving you a hug or saying something comforting, he just starts trying to fix it. He starts problem solving. He starts asking questions about solutions. And maybe that frustrated you. Maybe you thought, Dad, I don't need you to fix it, I just need you to listen. But here's what's really going on in his head. When you tell him you're struggling, when you tell him something's wrong, it breaks something inside him. Because his entire identity as a father is built around one core belief. I'm supposed to protect my child. I'm supposed to make sure they're okay. And when you're not okay, when you're hurting, he feels like he's failing at the one job that matters most to him. So he tries to fix it. Not because he doesn't care about your feelings, but because watching you suffer and not being able to do anything about it is unbearable for him. The problem solving isn't coldness, it's desperation. It's his way of saying, I can't stand to see you in pain, and I'll do anything to make it stop. That's love, just in a different form than you expected. And what about the times when you achieve something? When you accomplish something you're proud of? And you tell your dad, and all he says is something like, that's good, or keep it up, or maybe he just nods. No big celebration, no huge emotional reaction. And you feel a little deflated, like maybe he's not that impressed, like maybe what you did wasn't actually that special. But if you watch closely, if you pay attention to what happens after that moment, you'll see something different. You'll see him mention it to other people. You'll hear him tell his friends, his coworkers, his own parents about what you did. You'll catch him smiling to himself when he thinks no one's looking, because he is proud, incredibly proud. He's just been taught his entire life that showing too much emotion, showing too much pride, might make you complacent, might make you stop trying. His generation was raised to believe that the best way to love your kids is to keep them humble, keep them striving, keep them hungry.
Not because he wants to withhold affection, but because he wants you to be strong. He wants you to be prepared for a world that won't always celebrate you. He's trying to build resilience in you, even if it means holding back the words you want to hear. That's still love. It's just protective love, worried love, love that's trying to prepare you for battles he knows are coming. Now, let me tell you about something even deeper, something that might hurt a little bit to hear, but it's important. A lot of dads, especially the ones who stay silent, who don't say, I love you, are carrying around this enormous weight of regret. They look at fathers today, fathers who are emotionally open with their kids, who hug them and tell them they love them and talk about feelings. And something inside them aches because they want to be that dad. They want to tell you. They want to hug you and be vulnerable and connect with you emotionally. But they don't know how because no one ever taught them. Because every time they've tried to be vulnerable in their life, they've been punished for it, told to man up, told to stop being weak. And now, all these years later, they're locked inside this prison of their own conditioning, watching you grow up, wanting to reach out, wanting to say the words, but the words won't come. Do you know what that feels like, to love someone desperately and not be able to tell them? To watch other dads do it easily and wonder why you can't? That's what's happening inside a lot of these silent fathers. They're not emotionally unavailable by choice, they're trapped. And so they do other things instead. They show up at your games even when they're exhausted. They work jobs they hate so you can have things they never had. They worry about you in the middle of the night. They make terrible jokes trying to make you laugh. They give you advice that sounds harsh but comes from a place of wanting to protect you from the mistakes they made. All of that is I love you, just in a different language. Here's something else that might surprise you. Your dad probably thinks about you way more than you realize. When he's at work, when he's driving, when he's supposed to be focused on something else, his mind drifts to you. He wonders if you're okay. He replays conversations you've had, wondering if he said the right thing. He worries about your future. He thinks about mistakes he's made as a father and wishes he could go back and do things differently. But he doesn't tell you any of that because men of his generation were taught that their job is to be strong, to be certain, to never let their kids see them doubt or worry or struggle. So he keeps it all inside. And from the outside, it looks like he doesn't care, like he's not thinking about you, like you're not that important to him. But the opposite is true. You're everything to him. You're just everything in a quiet way. And here's the hardest part. By the time a lot of kids figure this out, by the time they realize what their dad was actually saying all along, it's often too late. Their dad is older or sick or gone. And they're left with this crushing regret, wishing they had understood sooner, wishing they had said something, wishing they had told their dad that they knew, that they understood, that the love was received, even if it was never spoken. So, if you're watching this and your dad is one of these men, one of these silent fathers who shows love through actions instead of words, I want you to do something. I want you to start paying attention, not to what he says, but to what he does. Notice when he saves the last of something for you. Notice when he asks if you've eaten. Notice when he stays up late waiting for you to get home even though he has work in the morning. Notice when he fixes things for you without being asked. Notice when he gives you advice that sounds critical but is actually him trying to protect you from pain he's already experienced. All of that is I love you. And if you can, if you're brave enough, maybe try saying it to him. Because here's a secret. He might not be able to say it, but he desperately wants to hear it. He wants to know that despite all his mistakes, despite all the ways he's failed to be the emotionally open father he thinks he should be, you still love him. You still see him. You still know that he tried. You don't have to have a big emotional conversation. You don't have to force vulnerability if that's not who you are. But maybe just a simple, thanks, Dad, for the things he does. Maybe I appreciate you. Maybe just spending a little more time with him, doing the things he likes to do, showing him through your own actions that you understand his language now. Because one day, he won't be here, and you'll wish you had told him. You'll wish you had let him know that you figured it out, that you understood what he was really saying all along. Your dad might never say, I love you, but he's been saying it your whole life, just in every other way possible. And maybe that's enough. That's all I wanted you to say. And if you gain something new, knowledge that nobody's saying on internet, then hit the subscribe, like button for more videos.